So we all have to do our own little segments here on Access SCC, and since John had to do something for this episode, this is what he came up with.
There's a place for everyone in public access. Anyone who has an idea for a show can turn their idea into reality at public access facilities like SCC. Young or old, men or women, tech savvy or computer illiterate, smart or even dumb, like today's guest. Hey, please welcome from the new show Metal Meltdown, Johnny Chainsaw. Hey John, thanks for having me. Hey, nice suit by the way. Thanks, and thanks for dressing up too. Tell us about your show. Well, Metal Meltdown is a show that plays music videos from various metal bands from around the globe. It's actually got a focus on power metal bands. I also have a calendar of upcoming concerts, and there's actually a little bit of an educational segment on the show that I call Metal 101. And that's where I explain some of the differences between some of the heavy metal genres. Different metal genres, explain. Well, the term heavy metal is a very broad term. There are actually many, many other subgenres of heavy metal, and rightfully so. I mean, I've heard some people say they like heavy metal while referring to a band like Def Leppard. Likewise, I've heard different people say they like heavy metal while referring to a band like Slayer. Needless to say, despite both of those bands being metal, there ain't no way in hell you're going to see both of those bands on a twin bill. Interesting. So you said your show focuses on power metal. What does that mean? Well, power metal is a subgenre of heavy metal that is generally focused on fantasy-based themes. And for the most part, they have a positive tone to the music. The music tends to be really, really fast. Okay. And actually, the composition of music tends to resemble more of a symphony than anything else, really. You don't say? Yeah, totally. I mean, the next time you hear a symphonic masterpiece, try to imagine the violins being replaced with electric guitars. Bam, you've got power metal. The notes are the same, it's just that the instruments are a little bit different. That is absolutely fascinating. I know, dude. It just totally blew my mind the first time I realized that. So let me ask you this, how did you get into metal music? Well, actually, the answer may surprise you. It's public access. I was flipping through the channels one night, and it was back in the late 90s probably, and I stumbled across a music video of a band just totally tearing it up on the stage. It was heavier and faster than anything I had ever seen before. You know, anything like on MTV or on the radio even. But my curiosity eventually led me into a world of non-commercialized heavy metal. And I credit that show for getting me started. And I also credit my little brother Rob and his college roommate Brian for pointing me in the right direction. So why do a public access show? Well, really the same reason everyone else with a show gives. Why not? I mean, places like SCC are provided to the community as a service. Why not take advantage of it? SCC has all the resources, and all you need is an idea, really. You know, want to do a show about skateboarding? Do it. You know, want to do a show about video games? Do it. Want to do a show about cooking Middle Eastern food while discussing the global marketplace in a post 9/11 economy? Do it. I mean, I'm telling you, man, all you need is an idea and a little ambition. SCC is going to take care of the rest. Well, that's cool. Where did the idea come from to start Metal Meltdown? Well, I'd always wanted to do my own public access show for a long time, but for whatever reason, it just always seemed out of reach. Time, effort, and actually questioning whether I had the ability to pull it off were all things that kept me from doing it in the past. When I started working here at SCC, I soon realized that it was how easy it was to get started. And by late 2007, I was chomping at the bit to get my show started. Plus, a huge motivator for me was the desire to pass on my knowledge of the subject to others and hopefully inspire someone else to explore different kinds of music. So where do you get the music videos that you air on Metal Meltdown? Well, I started contacting record companies back in December of 2007 to request music videos. I initially didn't have a lot of luck getting to the right people. My emails, letters, and anthrax-laced notes weren't getting noticed.
Wow, your answers are long.
And after a few months, I was really kind of getting discouraged. So I decided to take matters in my own hands. I looked around my house and found that I actually had enough music videos of my own to get me started for a few half-hour shows. And once I found out that I could legally cablecast these videos under the Fair Use Act, I went directly into taping. Once the ball started rolling, I started getting noticed by some of the record companies, and and they started sending me some music videos free of charge. So I actually think I've got enough to last me probably another 50 episodes, so that's pretty cool. Okay. Well, what about the name of the show? How did you decide on calling it Metal Meltdown? Well, I wanted metal in the name somewhere so that anybody looking at a program guide or a channel guide could tell immediately what the show was going to be about without even having watched one episode. So with that in mind, I settled on Metal Meltdown because there was actually a song by the same name that was sung by the Ripper Owens on a Judas Priest live CD, and that's actually the CD that kind of opened the floodgates, so to speak, into a deluge of heavy metal music. So why heavy metal music? Well, it's my life. It's my passion. I mean, if you think about it, my appearance is sort of modeled the same way. I mean, the way I look and dress and act should hopefully scream metal to anyone who sees me. I mean, the long hair, the earring, the dime bag, Daryl red goatee, I mean, it all screams metal. I mean, I wear that label like a badge of honor. Well, Johnny, you are certainly a fascinating individual. Ah, all right, thank you, thank you. Well, I appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule of doing nothing to talk to us today. Well, thanks for having me. All right, we'll have more Access. We'll have more of Access SCC in just a little bit. Stay tuned.